Welcome to WION. My first question to you is an obvious question. You are here in India. You've come from Mumbai. What is the key focus during your India visit?
Well, we're here to celebrate India's Independence Day. It's really an honor that the Prime Minister, Foreign Minister have invited our delegation to be there at the Red Fort. And it is to continue to strengthen the relationship, to build on the Prime Minister's visit to the United States in anticipation of President Biden's visit in September, strengthen our economic relationship, our cultural relationship, our defense relationship.
So these are the key focus areas, but you're also going to meet the External Affairs Minister and Prime Minister as well. What are the key focus areas when it comes to meeting with them, and what are the issues you're going to talk with them?
Well, one is how do we operationalize some of the agreements? We have now India as a major defense partner, but what we heard in places like Hyderabad and some of the technology leaders we met is that it's still difficult to get some of the deals operationalized. How do we make sure that that's happening? How do we make sure that there is partnership when President Biden comes on digital ID and maybe announcing standards related to digital health? What are other breakthroughs, areas of scientific collaboration that we can have, maybe in climate and decarbonization? And then how do we continue to strengthen our relationship as two vibrant democracies, upholding the rule of law and respect for minority rights?
Sir, you are Indian origin, Indian heritage. There is a substantial portion in terms of the role played by the Indian origin people. How do you see the Indian diaspora being the key link between United States and India?
Well, it's a big cultural issue. I mean, I got so many texts and emails after I met the great Amitabh Bachchan in Mumbai, because he's a national icon and a brand. That people-to-people relationship where they watch the Bollywood movies, where they have relatives in India, and where people in India know someone in America, is an extraordinary important link between the two nations that will survive any of us politicians.
What do you think about the measures which can be taken when it comes to US in terms of strengthening India's manufacturing sector? India has a policy called Make in India. How do you see or perceive that?
Well, we have a policy about making things in America, and I think there is a mutual benefit, because when you look, for example, at the Boeing-Tata partnership that we just saw in Hyderabad, there you have India purchasing a large number of airplanes from America, supporting American manufacturing jobs. And at the same time, the Boeing-Tata partnership is creating jobs here in Hyderabad, in India. So you have a win-win situation where we're building American manufacturing, where India is building India's manufacturing, taking that away from China. And you have a potential for a US-India relationship that is going to create jobs in both countries, as opposed to the structural trade deficits that we had with China.
What's your view on sustainability, and how do you see India and US collaborating on climate change, fighting this issue?
Well, it's extraordinarily important, and I have seen here the focus India is putting on solar, on wind, on electric, on batteries, on developing a clean economy. India wants to be a leader. Decarbonization is a priority of the Prime Minister's. It's a priority of President Biden's, and this is an area for a lot of collaboration, both scientific, technological, and in the operationalization of that plan.
There's some issues as well. One is the visa issue. There are many Indians who would like to go to US, but there are delays. What's your view and the role you can play in perhaps smoothing the process?
Well, we already have made progress. As an India Caucus co-chair, the wait times have been reduced. They're still too long, about 200 days if you want to go to see your son or daughter get married or a graduation. We need more capacity at the State Department, and the India Caucus is working on building that capacity so that we can reduce those wait times. And it's very important that every person who visits an American consulate, an American embassy, is treated with dignity and with respect.
So there are certain concerns also on the Khalistani extremists. They have been indulging in violence in United States against Indian missions. What's your stance on that?
Well, I've spoken out very clearly against that violence against the consulate in San Francisco. There's no place for that in the United States of America. And I don't have any sympathies for a separatist movement. You can't have one state succeed from India. We have to have treating all people equally, whether they're Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, but there's no tolerance for separatism.
Moving to the international aspect, China is a concern both for the United States and India. How do you see both countries working together to counter a very aggressive China?
Well, we have security agreements. We need to make sure that on Arunachal Pradesh, China realizes they can't cross the line of control. We've got to make sure that India, I was just at the Western Naval Command in Mumbai, that they have joint exercises with the United States and that the Arabian Sea and the Indian Ocean have freedom of the seas. These strategic relationships are critical.
Moving to Russia, Russia has a good relationship with India. India has a good relationship with Russia. Do you think that it's a concern for you, given that India also has a good relationship with US? Have you been conversing with the Indian side? India has been importing cheap energy from Russia. So what's your take on the relationship India has with Russia and any concerns regarding that?
Well, two things. One, there is a move that India now recognizes American military equipment is much better. And so I hope that Russia's shortcomings in the Ukraine war will expedite the transition away from Russian legacy military equipment to American military equipment. Second, India has condemned the invasion of Ukraine and hopefully can play a constructive role in bringing about a peace that recognizes the sovereignty of Ukraine.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for speaking to WION. It was a pleasure speaking to you here in Delhi. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.